Hello YouTube, Jeff Steele here. This is your Part 24 update on the current shortages with ammo, firearms, other store items, as well as some other news. Continuing the conversation, it's been a couple of weeks since I've uploaded such a video. I heard some news this morning that there are riots going on in Paris, very similar to what we saw in Seattle and Portland and other major cities in the US. Apparently what's going on is there's a new ordinance, and I think it's in Paris, maybe in the country of France as a whole. You cannot film police. So law enforcement agents and entities, they cannot be filmed. And so basically they're not being held accountable, and people are really up in arms. So I would encourage you all to pay attention, not just what's going on around you, but also in the other countries in this world. Is there a common theme? Are we moving more towards a worldwide police state? So we must take a stand to maintain our rights, freedoms, and privileges. So just take due notice and govern yourselves accordingly. Another highlight on the news, California goes into 85% lockdown. Other jurisdictions are definitely soon to follow with the uptick in the alleged situation cases. So I was in Walmart about a week ago, checked out their stocks in regards to ammunition specifically. Still extremely low. At the end of this video, I'm going to add a couple of photos that I took of their cabinet, and they only had about 3 or 4 different calibers: 17 HMR, 222 Remington, just some oddball cartridges, nothing of any popularity whatsoever. Now, I will say they had a lot of shotgun shells in stock. They moved probably 90% of the inventory behind the glass. Normally, Walmart kept their shotgun shells out on the open shelf, easily accessible, not behind the glass. But again, they've moved about 90% of that behind glass. I'm seeing a lot of shortages with paper towels. Now, I am still seeing toilet paper. Those stocks are going down, but I'm really seeing a hit on paper towels, not just at Walmart, at other grocery stores as well. There's a local independent firearms dealer that I drive by regular. They specialize in firearms and ammunition only. Extremely busy. Parking lot has been full every time I've drove by. I stopped in a few weeks ago, looked at a couple of items, but the items that I were interested in as far as firearms, I didn't have the ammo to go along with them, so I ended up not purchasing anything. Something else of note, some of my thoughts, and I would say one thing to be cognizant of in your preparations would be, no matter what gear you have, maintain quiet, maintain your stealth. So for example, if you have gear or you have something in your pockets that is making noise, if you have gear that has loud zippers, you need to get rid of those noisy items. So for example, last weekend I went hog and deer hunting, and I had a couple of extra magazines in my vest. They were in their own separated pockets. However, when I walked, those magazines were rattling together, making unnecessary noise while I was moving. So what I did was I left a couple of those magazines at our base camp, so therefore I can move through the woods with minimal noise. The more stealthy you are, the more quiet you can be, the better you're going to be able to survive and be successful in whatever situation you find yourself in. Very critical tip: be quiet. In panic situations, usually the loudest people become the first targets. So be as quiet, be the gray person that you can be. Also, I would still focus on conserving your ammo. I'm seeing some supplies online. The various retailers However, prices are still high. Shop those different platforms for sure. But as far as brick and mortar retailers, inventories, it's very slim, or if not at none. And I would also, I've talked about this in previous videos, get into air rifles. As far as the actual air rifles themselves, I'm seeing limited inventories of those, so a lot of folks have moved into that area to keep up with training and having fun at a very low cost, and you can still find a high surplus of pellets and BBs. So I'm seeing inventories of actual air rifles go down, but there are still models available. I was just looking on Amazon and other air rifle specific retailers online last night. Some of their nicer models, the Magnums and such, are out of stock. So for example, the model I have is the Gamo Magnum 22 cal Gen 2. I didn't find any of those in stock online. I would say that's probably due to the fact that Gamo air rifles are made in Spain. A lot of Europe has moved back into lockdowns right now, and so there's probably a lot of factories shut down. Gamo could be one of those factories that have been shut down. And my particular air rifle, I sighted the scope in at about 25 yards. I mean, I was probably getting a group of about a quarter at 25 yards. I didn't sight it in any further than that, but I took out 2 squirrels a few days after that at 50 yards. So crazy effective, and they've really come a long way with the power and the accuracy. This particular model, that 22 Magnum I mentioned, I mean, folks are getting quarter groups at 100 yards with that. I'm not sure on the energy components at 100 yards with that, but I can tell you at 50 yards, squirrels, lights out, no question. It probably could take out a raccoon or that size game or smaller at 50 yards. I wouldn't see why it wouldn't. So check out that. In regards to the election, there are runoffs happening across the country, Georgia specific. We're going for not 1, but 2 Senate seats. It's critical that you get out and vote in those runoff elections. Georgia is a biggie. I think you can start voting early in Georgia, December 14th. There are no excuses. So go vote. It's really going to make a big difference at this point. And in regards to the big election, what's going to happen? Well, apparently Trump is allowing Biden to sit in currently on some security meetings. So it's looking as if Trump could possibly throw in the towel and give up the fight late in January. With that said, so we'll see what happens. But I can guarantee you that if Biden gets in successfully and that transition happens, at some point during 2021, they will deem him incompetent, and Kamala will be your president. And guess who's number 3 behind Kamala for president? Nancy Pelosi. So you're going to have Kamala and Nancy Pelosi running the country. Think about that. Not very good information for your Second Amendment right. And I've talked about this in the past. A lot of the issues that I have observed that people have with Trump, particularly my close family and friends, I've mentioned that this situation is like 1860. Families, best friends are being divided in this scenario. And my observation is, usually when I hear people who talk about Donald Trump who don't like him, they usually refer to his joke comments, whereby they take his jokes as fact seriousness, as if Trump is being serious when he says these things, when he's just joking. He's being sarcastic. But they take his sarcasm as fact, real information that he is promoting. So for example, when he said, oh, well, you should inject yourself with Lysol, things such as that, the people that don't like him, they take those comments literally. And that's usually what they say when they quote him, that the reason they don't like him. So what have you heard people say who don't like Trump? I'd really like to know. I mean, that's been a common theme. They basically take his sarcasm as literal words, literal facts that he's promoting. That's the only thing I've heard about, really, that they don't like him. Moving on to comments. Doggone Priest says he cannot find 7.62 by 25 ammunition. Radon, in regards to the last video, we were talking about minimizing your weight, your gear. In other words, the more weight you carry, the more energy you're exerting, and it will really wear you down. He says you need to plan on bugging in, not out. We only can carry so much weight. And I would definitely agree with that. You just need to be cognizant that no matter what you carry, it weighs something. And the more you carry, the more it will wear you down, no question. I would advise, yes, bugging in, but I would have multiple locations, at least 5 different locations in a given geographical area where you have your preps, your gear spread around to where if you need to move to a new location, you can do so. You can be mobile, carry a few things, but also have gear and prep set up in those other locations. Different relay points. It's very critical. Another comment from DJ says, only seeing 50 AE and 500 Smith & Wesson calibers in pistol ammunition as far as stocks. And that's definitely some oddball cartridges there. The only thing I'm familiar with that shoots the 50 AE is the Desert Eagle pistol. So something of note. Comment down below, what are you seeing in your area as far as news, riots, store inventories, anything you're seeing, comment down below. Share this video, tap the subscribe button, tap the thumbs up icon, the bell icon. We're gonna keep these updates coming along. Check out some of the other content on the channel. We thank you for watching. Have a great day.